So, good day, class. Today, let's just continue our discussion. So, let's just continue our discussion with oral communication, which is the preliminaries in a speech preparation. Previously, we talked about public communication. So this is actually, there is a relationship of the topic that we have right now because this is a preliminaries in speech preparation. So this is how you prepare yourself before facing in public. Okay. So these are the preliminaries in speech preparation. Our objective for this chapter is we need to differentiate the ways speech delivered. We have to define stage fright or communication anxiety. We have to recognize the symptoms of stage fright and manage stage fright during speech delivery and choose a speech topic effectively. And of course, know how to do audience analysis. It's very important. So hopefully that we can achieve this goals that we have right now after the lesson. But before we proceed, we all know who is Geoffrey Chaucer, right? Geoffrey Chaucer is the father of English. And according to him, life is short, art long, opportunity is fleeting, experience treacherous, judgment difficult. So we interpret this quotation yesterday, but I totally agree that our life is short. So instead of wasting your time, why not creating something that will definitely last long, especially in art? Or look at this person in front of you, the Geoffrey Chaucer. He was actually died several years ago, but still his contribution in English still existing. We're still tackling. So this is what I'm talking about. Make an impact to your audience, or if you're talking in public, make sure that um, instead of making yourself put in embarrassment, why not make turn it into a positive way where your audience can remember you because you're a good speaker, a motivational speaker, maybe. All right. So opportunity is not knocks only one according to them, but of course, don't waste opportunity. Who might know that opportunity will bring you to success and experience treasures. When we say treacherous class, we know that this is a deception or we called it betrayal. So in our life experiences, we what do you call this one? We may feel like we're not worth enough. Feeling natin masyado na tayong kinakain ng emotion, wala na tayong hindi na natin nakikita yung value natin, but try to make it in a positive way that this deception of experiences will help you to become a better version of yourself. Or we can also say that it's a phase, phase. It's a phase of your life that will teach you to be strong and, of course, handle a new life again. That is from Geoffrey Chaucer. So, what is the relationship of that quotation to our discussion? Because we will be talking about modes of delivery. So, don't waste that opportunity in your facing public, right? So, the first one is what we call impromptu speech. So, what is impromptu speech? A speech is delivered categorized in various modes of delivery. A speech that is delivered with little time to prepare is what we call impromptu, or we call it spur of the moment speech. So this mode of delivery is applied to different situations, such as after dinner speech, or should I say during a family gathering in which you expected to say words of gratitude to your relatives who join you in a family dinner, or when you ask by your teacher to do or to recite, di ba? So that is also part of impromptu speech. Although you anticipate that your teacher may call you, but it is important at least that you can formulate your answer in just a short given time, di ba? So we call it like an impromptu. So how to prepare yourself, no? Siyempre, hindi ka naman natin sa isang gathering or sa isang online class without preparing yourself. So that's why teacher kind of a little bit upset if you're attending to the class without learning. I mean, wala kang natutunan, no? When they ask you questions, not necessarily technical, but at least general lesson that you've learned from our discussion. So, given that you only have a few minutes or sometimes seconds to prepare for your impromptu, it's essential that you read a lot on the current events or social issues, pressing phenomena in your environment, and any other materials, so that despite the lack of time to prepare, you can bank on your stored knowledge when you run out of personal thoughts. So, kaya nga si teacher, he or she will ask you, what did you learn in our past discussion? So you may not probably answer technical, but at least application of that particular lesson in a real life setup or situation. So we're done with impromptu. Next, we have extemporaneous speech. Extemporaneous speech is, for example, this one, when TEDx is a speaking event that invites people to talk about their lives and how they can be an inspiration to others. So, pag sinabi nating TEDx, it's an inspirational talks, okay? So, we have here Kevin. He was asked to share his journey to success in the film industry as indie film director. He was informed a month before the said speaking engagement. So the speech that Kevin delivered is called extemporaneous. Why? Because the speaker is given a period of time to prepare for the speech. Unlike an impromptu speech, you're only given a limited time, 'di ba? Parang second nga lang minsan, 'di ba? So extemporaneous speech, we all know that it's given for you ahead of time. Like you can plan a month before. So walang problema sa extemporaneous speech, no? Pwede ka pa magplano, gumawa ng draft and outline for your speech. While impromptu, you can never tell what particular question will be thrown to you or will be asked to you. Parang interview, di ba? Kahit nag-practice ka, kahit alam mo na yung pinractice mo na, uh, why should we hire you? Tell me something about yourself. There are questions that really out of the box, like hindi mo ini-expect, okay? So it's better that you have to what? Be aware of the current events so that at least you have an idea before you go to interview o kaya naman sa speech mo. So you can apply them and motivate to motivate your audience, right? So next is we have read from the manuscript speech. So when a senator deliver her his privileged speech, usually we can notice that he or she has a prepared written copy about State of the Nation address, often reads in the teleprompter. Why is that? Sir, mga senator naman yan, bakit kailangan pang gumamit ng manuscript? Or si President, bakit kailangan pang may manuscript? Ba't magbasa pa sa teleprompter? So, because class, these are the situation that we have to be careful on diction or choice of words because this is highly prized. I mean, a single word can ignite a conflict if the speaker misuse it. Remember, this is a politics. There are technical terms. There are government agencies that we cannot compromise of misread it. Okay, that's why we use this one. Parang pare, parang if you are a Catholic, if you notice the priest, kahit memorize niya na yung mga kalis, yung sa ano niya, no? Tumitingin pa rin siya sa Biblia, tumitingin pa rin siya sa Bible because it is very important that he can deliver the message of the God, no? Yung parang yung ganon, it's very sacred. Ganon din sa manuscript speech, kaya siya binabasa word for word. Okay? So, in effect, manuscript speech is usually delivered in political spheres and diplomatic engagements where words are taken carefully for legal and relational consensus. Okay? So, pwede rin natin dyan yung mga policies, no? Na there are terminologies that we cannot afford to misuse it or mispronounce it. That's why we need to have this kind of manuscript. And it's also a guide for them, no? Especially the person that you use a manuscript, those persons really busy, no? Sila yung mga sobrang busy na they cannot afford to memorize it. Okay? Parang journalist To be specific, mga broadcaster, no? Yung mga broadcaster, because it's live, binabasa nila sa teleprompter. Okay? So those are the example of manuscript speech. Next is we have what we call memorized speech. Have you ever experienced memorizing speech word by word? Definitely yes, no? Sa declamation, oration, because the judging, okay, the judging for that is how you memorize the script and put your emotion in there. But definitely the criteria, kaya nga siya memorized speech eh, dapat memorize mo kung ano yung nasa piece, right? So the speaker prepares the manuscript first and delivers it before an audience the same way as it was written. Okay? The same way as it was written. Malinaw yan. So the mode of delivery also varies with the speaker. So there are some who need note cards for sabihin natin note cards for thought organization. Like for example, if this is a business aspect, there are some para hindi mo makalimutan yung sasabihin mo, at least you have uh, what do you call this one, note cards or things like that. So amongst the four, however, extemporaneous speech give the speaker enough time to prepare and rehearse for the delivery. The speaker sounds more spontaneous if she or he does not read the manuscript. So if he does not read the manuscript, if the speech delivered with manuscript, the tendency is what? The speaker will heavily rely on it. So nakakatakot. Halimbawa, may nakasulat sa prompter or teleprompter, what will be the next step that you're going to do, and then pati yung steps binasa mo. So wag sana. That message is from you yourself. Okay? So you have to be careful. So, on the other hand, if the speech is memorized, the speaker might lose the conversational effect. Why? Because the speaker is prone to mental block. No, usually na may mental block tayo because even the in and at yung mga preposition, we have to be careful. We need to put it in memory, put it also in our mind, 'di ba? In our memory na kasama pati mga yon. We cannot just make our own interpretation of what the passage says. Okay? Hindi tayo pwedeng gumawa ng sarili nating interpretation. Dapat kung ano yung nakasulat siya ang nabibigkas. Wow. So he might forget everything that he memorized. So that's why medyo low lang yung memorization, no? The teacher will ask you regarding with the essay, they will not actually wanted you to define exactly the same as what it was, I mean, as what is, what do you call this one? Exactly the same on the PowerPoint, no, na binigay sa inyo. Baka naman dinidefine mo exactly the same. The teacher wanted to make, the teacher wanted you to explore or to express your opinion without defining it word for word. So, kailangan sarili mong word. Okay? Uh-huh. So, we're done with the modes of delivery. Now, let's move on to number two, which is stage fright. Okay? So, lahat naman siguro ng tao nagkakaroon ng fear, no, when they're facing in public or not even public. Maybe you are talking to someone has an authority, medyo for example police, your principal, teacher, di ba, minsan pag nakikiusap tayo medyo kinakabahan tayo or natatakot tayo. But let's define what stage fright is all about um, before we go further. So do you have trembling knees or trembling knees when speaking in public? Nanginginig bang yung mga tuhod? Kinakabahan ka ba? So the first step to becoming an effective public speaker is, of course, managing your stage fright. So stage fright or communication anxiety is to fear one feels. So pareho lang siya klasa. Stage fright or communication anxiety is just the same. So it means that is to fear one feels when asked to speak and deliver the speech in public. So stage fright also manifests in stage performances like dancing, singing, or acting in a play. So minsan kinakabahan din tayo na sa kunwari sasayaw tayo, punta tayo sa isang competition, 'di ba? Or singing contest or even acting, 'di ba? Sa stage play. So kinakabahan tayo. So that is a stage fright. Now, when you feel like too much nervous or yung tuhod mo nanginginig, pati yung labi mo ganyan. So there are tendencies na meron kang stage fright. That's a symptoms. Okay? So, stage fright is a normal from an anxiety or emotional tension. It's occurring in anyone confronted with a situation in which performance is important and the outcome certain. Again, stage fright is a normal from of anxiety or emotional tension. Normal lang naman na magkaroon tayo ng kaba or ng stage fright. Tao lang tayo, right? And we are afraid for so many reasons. We'll be talk about that on the next slide. So you develop body tension internally because you find public speaking important and value adding to you and to your audience. But just like what I said, if you are gonna go back to the reason why you need to talk in public, bakit gusto mo bang sumali sa isang dance competition? What's your purpose? So, pag yun yung pinangahawakan mo, like for instance, your dreams, di ba, to become one of the one of the champion in any singing contest, 'di ba? Kung 'yun yung pinanghahawakan mo, yung kailangan may ahon mo sa kahirapan ng magulang mo, kung 'yun yung ways, so medyo malilesen yung tension na nararamdaman mo when facing in public. So, according to Bradley 2006, normal lang talaga na magkaroon tayo ng anxiety or emotional tension when we're facing in public. But of course, paano natin ma-overcome yan? That's the question, right? So according to Clela Jaff, uh, in 2006, Jaffe introduced the two types of public speaking apprehension, which is the process anxiety and performance anxiety. So we have the two types of public speaking. First, process anxiety. What's the process anxiety? Of course, before the public speaking engagement, the moment you know that you would be speaking in public, anxiety starts to creep into your system. So process anxiety is triggered by unfamiliarity of the subject matter and expectation of the audience. Okay, so sabi, process anxiety, this is more of what preparation, no? Of how you really prepared on your script, diba? So, of course, before the public speaking engagement, so preparation to. The moment you know that you would be speaking in public, anxiety starts to creep into your system, diba? So, given that you only have a few minutes or wait. So when your teacher, for example, gives you a specific topic such advancement in the study of genetics, and you feel less credible to talk about the assigned topic, process anxiety begins, right? So don't feel bad about it. Even teacher, for instance, sabi ng, kunwari, may teacher na wala and they wanted to substitute a math teacher. So, halimbawa, English teacher, magsasub sa math teacher, syempre kakabahan din si teacher. I mean, hindi naman niya yun yung hindi niya yun ah, line. So, ganun din naman you as a student, right? If they ask you to do a report or to discuss something, you may feel a little bit nervous, di ba? Depende kung paano mo i-handle yung confidence mo. Because you'll never know, di ba? Kung ano bang steps or way of how to discuss to make your audience relatable to your topic, may ganyan. So, process anxiety begins when that situation happens. As you rehearse your speech, you're also trying to control your envision performance on stage. You have to visualizing the challenges that are possible to happen. And this is also an example of process anxiety because process anxiety begins from the moment you receive the invitation to speak until the last minute before you are called to be on stage. So that is a process anxiety. So ibig sabihin ng process anxiety, your preparation class, no? So let's talk about performance anxiety first. Performance anxiety is what you feel when you are about to begin your speech. When you're already on stage, you also think of possibilities. What if you forget the quotable quotes you plan to deliver in the introductory part? Baka mawala ka na on the next slides or on the second part. What if the audience is not generally responsive? How to make them alive, di ba? Anong gagawin mo? So, performance anxiety hinders in your goal to come up with smooth and spontaneous speech delivery. Your experience process anxiety because of lack preparation, lack of fluency, and mastery of the language, and negative reaction from the audience to just to name a few. Okay, so those are the possible anxiety that you may feel during performance, yung nasa stage ka na. Because of that, what if you start inviting negative thoughts or um, any possibilities, no? So, speech anxiety is both a physiological and psychological response. It is normal that our body reacts when we feel uneasy, but do not worry because it's just your body's way of preparing itself for the speech. Okay? So, normal lang yon. So, again, we have the two types of public speaking, process anxiety and performance anxiety. And I just explained the reason why. So, how do you know that you have already a stage fright? So, these are the symptoms, mga sintomas ng meron kang stage fright. Sinking feeling, no? Yung parang, malulunod ako sa kahihiyan or what. Sinking feeling. Dry mouth. Okay? Dry mouth. Clammy hands, yung medyo namamasa yung kamay mo, naglalagkit yung kamay mo, ganyan. We called it clammy hands. Excessive perspiration, yung normal naman tayong pawisan, no? Lalo na pag mainit yung venue, but when we say excessive, that is too much, no? May kasamang lamig or lagkit yung pawis mo. So, those are the possible symptoms for stage fright. Weakness, yung tuhod mo, no, medyo nanginginig and you cannot just stand up straight because of weakness. Cracking voice, pag nagsasalita ka, nabubulol ka na or pautal-utal. Racing thoughts, yung ang dami mong sinasabi ba, yung bang fillers, yung mga fillers na yun na you cannot just concentrate on one idea but you are trying to run out of words. So another example. Vocal hesitation, parang nag-aalangan kang magsalita sa microphone, right? Non-fluency, that means it doesn't necessarily uh, it doesn't necessarily ang tawag dito um, focus on your language, no, but non-fluency of the topic itself. Remember, you're facing in public, and when you're facing in public there is a purpose, right? So what is your purpose? Why you're going to talk with them? Either to entertain, to motivate. But what if you're not fluent enough to explain your ideas, diba? And another factor is indirect eye contact, diba? Because if you are not confident of what you're just saying, there is no eye contact, no? Overlay pounding heart, kaba sa dibdib, grabe. Increase in pulse rate and blood pressure, grabe naman yon. So those are the possible symptoms of stage fright. So if you have that, hindi ko sinabing negative na talaga to, no? But these are the symptoms. So we have to fight for it. What are the possible precautions or anong dapat natin gawin para hindi tayo magkaroon ng stage fright during the performance? Okay? So I'm gonna give you tips on how to manage stage fright. Number one, you have to be prepare your speech. Nothing important when there is a plan. Um, what I'm trying to say is if you are really prepared and if you are planning whatever you wanna talk in public, then I don't see any problem with that at all during performances because you are prepared. One of the many factors that fuel stage fright is lack of preparation kasi. So our level of confidence declines when we know that we fated to allot ample time to prepare for any important activity that we're assigned to do. Kaya nga minsan yung mga reporter, 'di ba class, if mga estudyante na nagre-report tapos hindi naman sila prepared, so ang tendency binabasa lang nila class and hindi nila ma-explain because they are not prepared and they also have lack of confidence. So, in fact, preparation strengthens our beliefs in ourselves. So, hence, present your most prepared self in front of your audience and it will be less challenging for you to begin your speech. Yung prepare nga na kinakabahan pa ng konti, paano na lang pag di ka prepared? So, grabe yung kaba mo, sobra-sobra because you are not prepared. So, that's number one tip. Number two, do not intimidated or intimidated by your audience. Always treat your audience as your equals, okay? Do not be intimidated. Like yung feeling mo parang, oh my God, napakataas nila kesa sa akin. No? The reasons why you're in there in front of them because they want to learn something from you. So you are the speaker. If you are the speaker, you are the most valuable person. Isipin mo lagi na, ikaw ang pinakamahalagang tao kasi maraming makikinig sa'yo, right? So just treat your audience as equals. Oftentimes, boosting our confidence is a challenge because we let ourselves think that our audience knows better than us. Kasi iniisip natin agad, naku, mukhang mas matalino pa yung audience natin. Just like what I said, if you're prepared, nothing to worry about. If you are prepared of what you're going to talk about, I don't see any problem with that at all. And also, do not be intimidated with your audience. Equal lang. Tapos, do not think your audience is better than you. Remember that our audience members are our co-communicators. They are there to listen and learn from us and not to judge or criticize us. Okay? It's just how you handle yourself in front of them. So make yourself happy before the speech. Gusto ko yan. Make yourself happy before the speech. Why? Because they may sound peculiar, but it is advisable to provoke happy thoughts and reminiscences from our past experiences before delivering a speech. So better wag na lang mag-entertain ng mga negative or if you are planning to if you are planning to attend or if you are joining any competition, do not read any social media muna na may mga negative comments or whatsoever. Just focus on your goal and then make yourself happy. Always look on the better side na yung mga happy thoughts. Yan. Why? Bakit kailangan? Because this set our moods and give us the right amount of zest in this moment of anxiety or we call it trepidation. So happy thought will make our aura vibrant and positive. So make sure class you have a notebook in front of you para malista niyo yung mga important or important details of the tips that I just gave you. Okay, the next one is what we call make yourself happy before the speech. Okay? Ayan. So, tapos na tayo sa make yourself happy before the speech. Next, we have manage your breathing. So, manage your breathing. What do you mean by that, sir? Stage fright has physiological manifestation. And one of this is difficulty in breathing, di ba? Pag kinakabahan ka. Kasi nga, physiological eh. May epekto siya sa katawan natin and sa feeling natin at that moment. So make sure that you breathe normally before and during the speech to facilitate the smooth movement of air in and out of your lungs. Yun lang naman yung ibig sabihin dito sa managed breathing. And try to do short meditation like exercise a minute before your speech. Siguro yung mga kamay mo, i-exercise mo, at saka your head maybe, and then vocalization maybe, and as well as your practice of inhale and exhale. All right. So you have to close your eyes and for a short moment. So focus on your breathing. So try to understand and analyze the flow of the air in and out to your lungs. No. So this will not only unwind your system, it will also clear your mind of negative thoughts. Yun yung pinakamaganda doon. Kasi ang focus ng mind mo is to understand the flow of the air coming from in and out of your lungs. Okay? So I hope you learned something from manage your breathing. Next, we have determine your weakness. Diba? Lahat ng tao may strength, lahat ng tao may weaknesses, no? And we always focus on how we develop our weaknesses. Yan. We can only work on our weaknesses if we acknowledge them. Most of the people, class, are afraid to accept their weaknesses, no? They're close-minded when it comes to accepting their accepting their anong tawag dito, weaknesses or flosses, no? Yung mga flosses na sinasabi natin. So, do not some of us may have shattering or trembling knees whenever stage fright creeps into our system. Pag talagang kinain na tayo ng sistema ng kaba, wala na. Kinakabahan na tayo, nanginginig natin mga tuhod. But do not trouble by this weakness because you can manage them. Actually, you can manage them, class, right? It is you of how you understand yourself and how to find your strength in order to cover up your weaknesses. Parang ganun, di ba? So, hanapin natin yung saan tayo malakas para ma-cover up natin yung weaknesses natin. Alright? So, if you know what you have the tendency to stutter in front of the crowd, try to consciously stutter before your speech. By doing it repeatedly, you are reintroducing it to your body, not as weakness or a response to stage fright, rather an activity that you can consciously manage and discontinue. So, nakuha nyo yung class. Pwede nating before the final speech or before the performance, final speech, before the performance, pwede naman nating i-accept yung mga words na nabubulol tayo, no? Not just because we wanted to practice that na mabulol ka, no? But we are doing it because we wanted to entertain the possibility, no? The possibility na mag-stutter ka. So that when you try to introduce that on yourself, that hindi mo talaga makuha to, and then keep on practicing, keep on repeating, no? And then afterwards, hindi ka na mabubulol. You can actually speak the way you have, I mean, you can speak that word, no? You can speak that word. Or you can speak the word that it should be. Ano yun, sir? So, So we all share the goal of mankind, our speech successful, and we will never allow stage fright get in the ways as we influence, right? Entertain or inform our audience through our exceptional speeches. Knowing how to manage our stage fright is another way of improving our communicative skill, not only in the context of public communication, but in other levels of communication as well. But lastly, class, before we proceed to the next topic that we have, the moment we know how to manage our stage fright, we become more confident to ourselves. Okay, so I hope you learned something from the tips that I just gave you on how to manage stage fright. What are the symptoms of stage fright? What are the types of public speaking? So I hope you learned something from it. So tomorrow we will be discussing more about this one. So for your attendance, just type your section. Sabi natin strand. Strand first, then your last name. And then strand, last name, and then click, paano ba yung ano dito? Again, in order for you, for your attendance, the format na itatype mo para sure tayo, type your strand and your last name. Okay? Type your strand and then last name. Yun lang. Okay? So, bye-bye for now.